For the Plant Doctor, we've received many emails with problems that people have experienced with their plants, and often these problems can be resolved by simply repotting the plant, and that's what I'll be showing you today. At the Hortus, we use different kinds of potting mediums, and for the coffee, we're going to be using normal potting soil. And because coffee is a very hungry plant, we're going to be using some worm compost and then perlite to keep the structure of the potting soil open. And then we're going to add a slow release high nitrogen fertilizer. This method of potting you can use for other house plants such as the chlorophytum or the cordyline or other things such as calatheas and monsteras, that then you have to keep in mind to adapt the potting soil to the kind of plant. So first we can start with a pot with a drainage hole. So this is a terracotta pot, and it's very important to soak the pot at least overnight beforehand, because this is very dry and it'll suck the moisture out of your potting soil. Then we also put a shard of an old pot to cover the hole so you don't lose your soil coming out of the hole when you water the plant. And then we can separate the two coffee plants. So press very lightly on the edge to loosen the soil from the pot. And sometimes you have to help it along a bit, but you don't have to crush the soil, or crush the pot. So we can very gently separate the two plants. Sometimes it's easy, like with this. Other times the roots can be very tangled. Then you have to be a bit more careful, but coffee is not too delicate, so it's all right. Can shake some of the excess soil off, but you don't have to clean the roots completely. So what we do is partially fill the pot up with our potting medium. You don't have to press the medium into the pot. You can very lightly press it into place, but it doesn't have to be squished into place. And then very important also to hold the plant at the right depth in the pot. Of course, you want all the roots in the soil, and sometimes, depending on the plant, you don't want too much stem under the soil. It's also important to have a rim in the pot for watering, so that when you water the pot, the water doesn't run off the surface and down the side of the pot. And then we just add the soil, and don't press in from the middle, but press in from the sides. That way you don't push the plant any deeper than where you wanted it to be. So we backfill the pot, and you don't have to press the plant into the pot, just enough to keep it up straight and sturdy. So this is one way of potting the plant. You're going to have to put it on a saucer, of course, if you have any kind of surface actually. The other way we can repot is to use a plastic pot and then put that inside the cover pot. We don't need to put any pot shards in here because the holes are small enough. Okay, and now we can put this plant into the cover pot. But it is important when watering this plant to water it outside of the cover pot. When you've repotted a plant, it's also important to water it well the first time in case your medium is dry. This also helps to make the plant more sturdy in the pot. And this is where the drainage holes are important. All of this excess water could stay in your cover pot and cause root rot and lack of oxygen. And so you would actually leave this for at least 15 minutes, 20 minutes to drain out properly before putting it back into the cover pot, like so. So our coffee plants have been repotted, and these are the top tips to remember whether you're potting up coffee or any other house plant. Always choose the right pot. Must always have drainage even when you're using the cover pot. The next tip is to know the origin of your plants, so you know what kind of soil to use and what kind of soil mix you have to make if you want to do that. Most things you can take a bit of searching, but you can find things like perlite and vermiculite at the garden center. And sand. Third tip is to water your plant outside of the cover pot so that the excess water can drain away properly.